What I'm going to try and cover here is to make us relate to cybersecurity by understanding the physical defense paradigm. So, physical defense is something which we have learned over millions of years. Right from the time we were in the Stone Age, we knew that the caves have to be built. We have to defend ourselves from predators. We have to get inside places where the adversaries cannot get into. And over a period of millions of years, our heuristics have developed to the extent that even a 10-year-old kid knows that he has to close a door, he has to close a window, he has to prevent a unknown guy from entering the house, or he should not be talking to strangers, right? But when it comes to cyber security, unfortunately, a app which we don't know where it is written asks us to give it a permission to read our SMS, to probably access our photo gallery, to access our contacts. We give it without even thinking, and that is where the problem lies. That how do we bring cyber security into our heuristics by being able to relate it to the physical security paradigm. Now, if you look at, these are the jargons part. If you look at the today's cybersecurity landscape and what tools do you have to protect yourself against all the threats. So there are firewalls, there are IDS, IPS, there is a EDR, NDR, and people combine it and call it a XDR. And then there is a SIEM, there is a SOAR, a lot of jargons. So we'll not worry about it at this point of time. We'll get into the session and then we'll figure it out. Right. So just before we get into the talk, a brief quick introduction about Nivetti. We are one of the leading secure networking and cybersecurity company of the country. We are a spin out of Infosys. We have built India's first fully indigenous network operating system and also some of the first of the industries in terms of building one of the fastest IP/MPLS router in the country. We have close to around 150,000 routers and switches deployed in the market today. We are also one of the first companies to be certified by DRDO Scientific Analysis Group for having one of the most secure systems which have been developed in the country. We have been recognized by government and we have been very thankful to them, and we got a Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay, the coveted Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Award for excellence in telecom space. And this happened last year where we launched India's fastest IP/MPLS router, which was inaugurated by Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnavji. So as a company, we do two things. We build secure networks and we secure existing networks. Networks are the highways on which your data travels. And if you are told that on the curb of that road, there is somebody sitting to waylay you and take away your money, attack your family, you're obviously not going to take that highway. But today we use networks without even thinking what that network has to offer. So networks have to be very, very secure. And also, the networks which have been already laid out, how do we secure them? So these are the two fundamental things as a company we stand for. As a company, we are into networking and cybersecurity. I'll not get too much into detail about it, but we do a ton of cybersecurity research. We do a lot of work for different government agencies. A lot of it we do pro bono. Even during Op Sindoor time, we did a lot of work to help different agencies in different ways and forms. As far as I'm concerned, I'm Manish Bajpai. I'm co-founder and CEO of Nivetti Systems. I'm also the head of products. I've been in this industry for almost 25 years and have worked across the globe and in India, and have been an active contributor to how the networking field has evolved, how the cybersecurity field has evolved, and I'd like to share some of the experiences today through this talk. So let's pick up physical security which all of us can relate to. And I have picked up airports because I think every one of us is very, very familiar with this fiscal paradigm. Few years back, a airport used to be almost like a cyber cafe where you can just enter, go do anything. But of late, it is a very, very fortified place and probably one of the most advanced security implementations from a physical security paradigm perspective. Uh, uh, and there is a reason for that, and there was a trigger for that. So I think we all relate to these images. It was September 11, 2001, which changed everything as far as the airports are concerned. 2,977 people killed, and an estimated loss, direct loss of around 60 billion USD, indirect losses of almost close to 1.2 trillion dollars, right? And that has changed everything. Now, today's airport security is very, very different than what it used to be in the early 2000s. And we used to keep having cases like Kandahar, and I mean, every other day you will have a plane getting hijacked and things like that. We don't hear that too often these days. Now, what are we waiting for as far as the cybersecurity is concerned? Are we waiting for a September 11 to happen in the cybersecurity space for us to wake up? I think it's too late. There is a September 11 happening probably every month, every week in the cybersecurity space. The estimated losses because of cybersecurity in 2025 is 10.29 trillion. The global economy is 113 trillion, which means almost 10% of the global economy is hit by cyber threats. Now imagine the amount of people who can be fed with this. Imagine how many lives are getting impacted because of. So if the moment for us to wake up to cybersecurity, this is the moment. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. And with the introduction of AI agents, I mean, it's going to be absolute chaos. So this is the time when we all become sensitive, we all become aware, and bring it into our heuristics the similar way we teach physical security. So let's start with the very basic thing. I mean, there's something which all of us have experienced. We go to the airport entry and we present our ticket. Along with that, we present our ID, which is typically an Aadhaar card, right? And the guy who is standing there until 5 years back or few years back, he will look at the ticket, he will look at the ID, match them, see that the name is matching and allow you in. Now we all can see the issue here. If I start thinking like an attacker or a hacker, what I can tamper my ticket. It's very easy. It's a piece of paper. And the guy sitting there has no means to validate whether it's a valid ticket or not. He just checks the date. He checks the flight time, which I can get it from the internet or from the website of any airline, and I can replicate a ticket. And at the same time, I can morph, I can recreate a Aadhaar card with a different name, the name which matches the one on the ticket. There's no way he can prevent it, right? Now, off late, what has started happening, if you see, that if you go to airport, they actually scan your ticket or a boarding pass to see whether it's a valid ticket. But still the loophole is, on the other side, it's an Aadhaar card, which is just a paper printout, right? It can be faked. And if it can be faked, anybody can enter inside. So that is where the problem is, that the current security at an airport level still can be compromised because of these things. Now let's look at what maps to it, the traditional firewalls, right? The guy sitting there is sitting at the perimeter of the airport. Similarly, the firewalls sit at the perimeter of the, and these are the traditional, the legacy firewalls which are there. Now it does what is referred to as stateful or a stateless inspection of the traffic coming in. It tries to figure out whether it's a genuine traffic, to be allowed, not to be allowed, very similar to the way the guy, the CISF personnel who looks at the ticket, whether the ticket is a genuine ticket issued by airline, which is an insider, similar to the inside organization which is originating a connection to internet or to the external network and allowing something to come back in, right? Now, the traditional firewalls had a limitation that they can only rely on the packet header information and the information which has been programmed by somebody into it. It had no way to validate if there is an external guy who is trying to come in, or traffic coming in is trying to imitate, spoof a connection to make it look like it's a genuine connection coming back. And by the virtue of which these firewalls can be compromised. Another easy way is that I compromise an insider, and I can compromise this firewall because the firewall thinks that insider is a trusted guy and the outside traffic which is coming is untrusted. But if it's originated from inside, let me allow him in. So that is where a lot of firewalls, the traditional firewalls, are getting breached today. Now in comes the Digiyatra. I believe everybody would have used Digiyatra. It's a more sophisticated system, right? You have to authenticate yourself using your Aadhaar ID card. So it accesses your Aadhaar ID card. It does a authentication with a back-end system to say you are the person who is traveling on this ID. So your ID is already validated, right? And at the same time, the Digiyatra is also connected to the back-end system to validate the ticketing system to know that you are carrying a valid ticket, right? Now, the only way to break this system is for somebody to be able to get into the backend system, to be able to compromise the backend system, or some insider who is able to help you to get a fake ID, which or not a fake ID. I mean, it can be a case where there is a foreign national who is able to get an Aadhaar card and is able to register. He can still get in, right? So, but he has to break a larger system to be able to get in. The level of difficulty has increased. And if there is an insider compromise where somebody allows you to come in by granting you access, and for that there needs to be someone who is sitting at the Digiyatra's backend systems and allows you to get in. You can obviously get in. The only other way to get in is to be the part of the Mission Impossible team. So you can 3D print a face and put on which matches somebody else and get into the airport. That is another way, but again, the level of complexity is far more. So now this maps to the next generation firewalls, which are far more sophisticated. They go beyond the packet headers. They have the ability to do deep packet inspection. They are backed by the backend systems where they can talk to the threat databases, map the traffic trying to come in against that, right? So there is a backend verification mechanism. If somebody presents it a certificate, it has a ability to talk to the root and verify whether that certificate is genuine or not, right? So that is where the next level of things are coming in, but still these next generation firewalls can have their own loopholes. It can be breached by things like TLS tunneling, because somebody might use encryption as a mechanism to push in something which next generation firewall is not decrypting. It can also not catch the cases of masquerading and weak configurations where somebody has put a default password and the firewall itself gets cracked. Now, if you move to the next level in the airport, you are going to see this frisking and scanning happening, right? Where somebody is sitting there with these tools, which are scanners. Your bag is put into the system and looked for things which you might be carrying as a payload, right? Now, this itself is an issue, because if somebody has just validated and he is carrying a bomb in the bag, till the time he actually hits an X-ray machine, it's not caught, right? Which itself is a problem. But there are systemic limitations which are probably making that happen. So these systems can also be breached if there are fatigue of officers on duty who miss out indications by the system. A malfunctioning device can allow it to be breached. And you also have these VIP exceptions that, okay, you are not going to frisk a VIP who is coming in. All those things can be used as a method. Now this maps onto your IDS, IPS, the intrusion detection and the intrusion prevention kind of systems, which actually go deeper into the packet beyond what a firewall does. And these sit behind the system, like the way in airport you just saw the frisking and scanning happening. Now this can be done at the perimeter, but the challenge that you are going to face is that you will start having a queue building up at the gate. and you will have complaints coming in, because of which this is something which is moved up, and with minimal verification you are allowing somebody to enter into the airport. So IDS IPS are responsible for doing a deeper analysis, looking at the payload if something is being carried into the system. Now, I'll take a very hypothetical scenario. Now, let's say I have entered into the airport, and 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 somebody wants to monitor me inside the airport, because I may have crossed all the boundaries, but I still have malintentions. I have a device which I can go plug into the airport's network, which will allow external VPN access into the network from outside. It can cause issues. So imagine a hypothetical scenario where the government decides that, okay, anybody having a DigiYatra, I'm going to snoop on him, I'll listen to what he's doing, I'll monitor his movement. And that is where the problem happens, that the moment somebody knows, he will say, okay, I'm going to delete DigiYatra if government is doing that. And which is where the problem comes is your EDRs come into picture, where if the EDR is basically the endpoint detection system, where there is a agent sitting on all the systems to be able to detect the threats which are running on the system, what activity the endpoint, a PC or a desktop, is doing on the network, and prevent it from happening. Now, the biggest challenge with EDRs is that there is a privacy concern that my PC or desktop or endpoint is getting monitored, so somebody may want to disable it and things like that. Okay, so I think you're getting the gist of it. I'll not go too much into details. So the control centers are very similar to the SIEMs of the organization, the security incident management systems, where the teams report the problems to the central monitoring system, and the actions are being taken based on that. But the challenge is these kind of cybersecurity tools can also be evaded, because if the systems are compromised, this tool will not be able to monitor anything. So the last thing that I'm going to cover in this security paradigm is the latest and the greatest which is happening, and the most foolproof way of actually enforcing security, and you will see it everywhere, are the video surveillance systems. So every individual is monitored for his movement, for his behavior inside. After getting inside an airport, it's non-intrusive in nature, it's omnipresent, so it can monitor everything. But at the same time, it will be able to track if somebody shows a malicious behavior. And very similar to this is what we call as the NDR, the Network Detection and Response Solution. So the fundamental principle of an NDR is very similar to a CCTV surveillance camera, that it provides you 100% visibility of what's happening in your network. It monitors every packet flowing in the network, and all modern day attacks are 100% going to leave a footprint on your network. So unless you are monitoring everything which is flowing on your network, it's very hard for you to be able to defend your networks with anything else. So it allows you so you can basically stop anything that you can see. If you can't see it, you can't practically stop it. So NDRs are the modern days, equivalent of a CCTV surveillance backed by AI and ML algorithms, vision processing algorithms. Equivalent of that runs inside NDR. And Nivetti as a company has developed one of the India's first and the leading NDR product called as the Hawk Secure. And if any one of you is interested in knowing more about Hawk Secure, we are out there in the stall, and we'll be happy to share more details about them. Yeah.